So we're group 4, and we were tasked with looking at the bills in the state government section of the 90-day report, which is also just part C. So we can just get right started with Joshua.
Uh, my bill was Senate Bill 0524, and it's the committee's chairs and vice chairs gender neutral terminology. So let's get to it. Um, Senate Bill 524, it primarily updates gender specific titles in the General Assembly to gender neutral terms for inclusivity. And it has minimal fiscal impact as it primarily involves updating language in legislative documents and titles. And it updates then gender neutral terms to gender neutral ones to, I mean, I meant to promote inclusivity and equality in the General Assembly. And the bill basically, for sure, it supports employees in the legislative area by giving them proper gender neutral terms. And this could help people who work in the legislative, like who wouldn't be comfortable with gender specific titles.
This next bill is Tyler Kim's, but he wasn't able to make it today due to some extenuating circumstances.
Move your slide. Please control the screen.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why my screen isn't sharing. Can you guys see this HB 630?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is HB 630, which is Tyler Kim's bill. So his was called the State Retirement and Pension System Service Credit Bill. And what it is basically it strives to improve the state's retirement and pension systems by removing any restrictions on transferred service credits and extending the eligibility for those who were previously ineligible. And the reason we need it is to uphold a sense of fairness and justice for employees when receiving retirement benefits. And so it's especially important for those who wish to transfer between retirement plans to ensure financial security. The fiscal impacts of this bill really center around all the potential savings by keeping more experienced employees in their positions for longer because they won't have to retire as quickly, and also reducing the chances of legal issues related to retirement benefits. And then finally, the laws will support employees who switch jobs frequently and give equal treatment for those who served.
I chose the House Bill 0981, which was targeted towards the principal departments, and it's titled Individuals with Limited English Proficiency, and it addresses access to public services. So this bill requires the principal departments of the executive branch to take whatever means necessary to provide in-person oral services and translate vital documents into languages spoken by at least 3% of the population served by that local office. And so this bill breaks down linguistic barriers by ensuring that non-English speakers can fully participate in and benefit from public programs. Additionally, it addresses the burden placed on immigrant children to translate legal documents for their parents, as that is oftentimes a problem. For the fiscal impact, as it is addressed to some principal departments, it varies among these agencies. And so, for example, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management's general fund increased approximately $100,000 in the fiscal year of 2025. And in general, the fund expenditures increased by approximately $100,000 in the fiscal year of 2025, and in the coming years to $100,000. Ultimately, this bill aims to bridge linguistic gaps and empowers the communities situated in Maryland, and it allows everyone in the community to participate.
Okay, finally, this is the bill that I chose, House Bill 102, and it's titled Office of the Attorney General, Investigative Authority, and Healthcare Fraud. So basically what it allows for is it streamlines the process for the Attorney General's office to look into fraudulent healthcare practices, especially independently, and take legal action against companies or the people involved. The more specific action that it is now allowed to do is issue subpoenas. And so the reason why we need it is because fraud, especially healthcare fraud, is a problem that has been plaguing Maryland for many years now, and we really do need a system to make it more efficacious. And so, because in the past, healthcare fraud investigations were conducted in a very ineffective and bureaucratic manner. In other words, basically, the Attorney General's office had to go through multiple offices, coordinate with multiple agencies, just to do the one thing of getting a healthcare fraud actually investigated. And so now it can just easily issue its subpoena on its own, and that allows it to make the system go a lot quicker and also make it more efficient. And in the end, this also just represents a larger movement to improve accountability and openness in the healthcare system. Because year by year, due to our lack of transparency, we see a lot of overbilling, the provision of unnecessary services, and intentionally misdiagnosis of patients in exchange for higher reimbursements. So in terms of the fiscal impact on the actual $63.1 billion budget that Maryland has, there is no impact on that just because it is now just granting a power. It's not really allocating money towards anything. But what it does really help do is save millions of dollars that are stolen from the state and federal government due to the ineffective use of tax money and deadweight loss that is caused by fraud. And so now we're saving that money, and we can kind of reallocate that money into other programs that could also help benefit our community. So in terms of just like other tidbits of information that I thought was really interesting to share, the first thing is that because now that the Attorney General's office is allowed to take on more cases and issue more subpoenas more quickly, this can also increase the investigative workload of the office, which means that the office may have to require additional resources to continue to ensure its effectiveness. The second thing I found really interesting was that this bill was unanimously passed in both the House and the Senate, meaning that this is a bipartisan bill. It is recognized by both the Republicans and the Democrats that this is an issue that needs to be fixed, and that this is a bill that has everyone's full backing and support. So with that, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening.